Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So today I wanted to talk about somewhat of a specific topic. I wanted to discuss what arguably is the worst, most garbage champion in League of Legends as of right now. Now this video is going to be made in collaboration with ProGuides, a very familiar name. It's a website that tries to improve your overall gameplay and knowledge. I have a link to them down below in the description where you can check them out and even use the free trial. Highly recommend it. It's a great website. Check it out. And this champion is actually somewhat of a meme because people always meme a rework happening for him because he's had so many reworks and most of them being essentially a failure that it's kind of becoming almost pathetic to watch. And the champion that I'm talking about is none other than Mr. Ryze himself. This guy is just so out of the meta that it is actually kind of ridiculous. I mean, he actually used to be pretty strong. He used to be one of the best mid laners without question, but he received nerfs, the meta has changed, and now he's pretty much the worst by far. I mean, take a look at these win rates in Platinum Plus at champion.gg. If you were to look at just the mid lane stats, you can see he's actually the second lowest, and the only other person lower than him is Karma, who arguably isn't really even a mid laner, more of a support champion. But if you switch it up and look at the exact same win rates, but this time in every single role, so you show all of the roles in one big list, you'll see he's the third lowest win rate. The only people lower than him is, again, of course, we have Karma, but then of course we also have Ornn, which doesn't really count since he is a new champion, so naturally his win rate is just going to be low at the very moment because people are still learning him. But now, since Ryze is considered to be somewhat of an actual difficult champion, right? He's not someone you can just pick up and play and actually find success with. He does take a lot of time, a lot of games, and a lot of investments. If you actually were to lower the skill level maybe down to gold, where obviously people at gold will have slightly more of a difficult time learning someone like Ryze as opposed to people in Diamond, Master, Challenger, or whatever, you'll see now he's pretty much tied for being the lowest win rate of all champions, of course, other than Ornn himself, since he is somewhat of an exception at the very moment. But if you were to switch it to look at only mid lane champions at their win rates in gold elo, you'll see he's without question the lowest win rate, sitting at 43%, which is pretty damn abysmal. And just one more example, taking it down to silver elo, looking at just the mid lane win rates, he's of course the lowest here as well by quite a decent amount, sitting at 42.5% win rate. And then switching it down to every single champion, he is the lowest win rate champion, of course, other than Ornn himself, like we said, who's an exception. So the trend that we see across all of these win rates across mid lane and all champions across different elos, Platinum Plus, Gold, Silver, is the fact that Ryze is consistently among the bottom, if not at the very lowest win rate, no matter the role or even the elo. So that in itself is already pretty bad, right? I mean, he's all around just the lowest win rate champion, the champion that you have the least success to win a game with. But this obviously does sort of beg the question, I mean, why is that? Why is he just such an abysmal champion? Well, let's take a quick look at just what happened to Ryze over the course of his duration ever since his most recent rework, which did happen in patch 6.14. Now, following the rework in patch 6.17, he actually got a buff to his ultimate, which increased the range at rank 1, and from what I remember, he actually wasn't really all that bad. But then come patch 7.1, this is where the nerfs slowly began. The bonus movement speed offered by his Q ability was actually lowered by 10% by max rank. Again, keep in mind that his Q does level up to 6 ability levels rather than the usual 5. But on top of this, the shield that his Q offers has also been nerfed. I mean, level 1 it's a little bit better, but as you keep leveling up, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse, getting reduced by a total of 50 base shield from 200. So that obviously was a little bit bad, but Ryze definitely needed some tuning because the people that actually did invest the time into Ryze were just simply way too strong in the champion. He was just way too good. So come patch 7.4, Overload, his Q, the damage on this has got nerfed as well. The bonus damage, in fact, got tuned down by 20% by the final level. But apparently he was even then still too strong, so then the next patch right after, patch 7.5, he got even further nerfs where the root duration on his W got reduced, the cooldown on his E ability actually got increased to up to 3.25 seconds rather than just being at 2.25 seconds at all ranks, and the nerfs just kind of kept coming. So finally, Ryze seemed to be put into a decent spot where he wasn't just abysmally strong to where he was pretty much a pick or ban in the mid lane. In the patch of 7.8, Overload, his Q ability got somewhat of a new effect where now the cooldown reset occurred when Rune Prison or his E ability were cast rather than when they hit their target, which is overall a pretty decent buff. But apparently it had very minimal effect because the next patch he actually got a slight buff where his magic resistance growth was increased very slightly, and this time his E ability received somewhat of a new effect where if the target dies while the projectile of the E is still traveling to that target, this Spell Flux, which is the E-name ability, will actually still spread to nearby targets. This was also a pretty good quality of life change for Ryze and just kind of makes him work a little bit better. But the main issue with these buffs is that it doesn't really change any of the numbers of the champion. I mean, sure, the abilities function a little bit better, but the damage that they deal and just kind of the impact and the overall influence that they have wasn't really changed all that much. The damage was still subpar. And ever since then, I mean, there weren't really any significant changes happening to the champion whatsoever. He was just sort of left in the dust. So all of these nerfs coming to Ryze over the course of several patches and not really receiving any buffs in return, on top of other mages getting buffs and going up and down in rankings, and like Orianna being really popular for a long time, then Talia, and now we have champions like Malzahar that are popular and other champions as well. Ryze has just completely fallen into the gutter, even lower than Azir's win rate and Azir's overall success, and Azir is already considered to be a pretty abysmal champion. So the main thing behind this is the fact that, I mean, Ryze not only just being a very difficult champion that requires a lot of games, a lot of time, and just a lot of investment that really doesn't even seem like it's worth the time to invest into him, on top of also just being flat out weak in terms of damage and in terms of what he brings to the team and all that good stuff, he's just in a very, very bad spot. Because even the play rate of Ryze, sitting at 0.72%, being almost the lowest play rate champion of all mid lane champions, is something important to note as well. And the reason I say that is because, well, I mean, he has less than a 1% play rate. That usually means that the people that are actually still playing Ryze are ones that have been essentially one-tricking him or have been playing him a lot prior to the nerfs hitting him really hard. Or in other words, they're essentially Ryze veterans, right? But even the people that are Ryze veterans, even the people that have already invested all this time and all this game and all this knowledge and blood, sweat, and tears into this champion are still playing him, but even they are not finding any success because his win rate is still sitting at 42%, even though he has a 0.7% play rate. So maybe it's time for yet another Ryze rework, because clearly Riot completely dropped the ball with the one they did a few patches ago. Personally, I don't really know what they need to do to fix him. I mean, if they just give him more damage, he'll just become completely overpowered, but clearly something has to be done because he is just a very, very bad mid laner and a very, very bad champion in League of Legends. And if you're a Ryze main or a Ryze one trick, you're probably not very happy with the current state that he's in. But either way, guys, that's kind of the video I just want to talk about today. Just sort of the weakest or the worst, the most garbage champion in League of Legends. It kind of sucks, and it kind of sucks that he's probably going to need yet another rework or another kind of just big significant changes, but it is what it is. So I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below on what you think of Ryze. Why do you think he's in such a bad spot? Do you think he's a good champion at the moment? Do you think he's bad, and why? Let me know down below. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely hit it with that like button. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.